There's something happening right now that you can't see, while you're sitting there wondering why he suddenly became quiet, while you're replaying every conversation in your mind, questioning every word he said and every moment he pulled away. Something is shifting inside him that he doesn't even fully understand yet. And the strange part is, the very silence that's making you doubt everything might actually be the sign you've been waiting for. His distance, his hesitation, the way he sometimes seems close, and then suddenly steps back. Those aren't always the signals of someone losing interest. Sometimes they're the signals of someone realizing that what he feels is deeper than he expected. Because when a man realizes someone matters more than he planned for, silence is often the first thing that appears. Watch this video till the end. Subscribe. Like this video. Share it. And comment if this silence feels familiar today. There's a moment when something inside you stays, when someone enters your life and you feel it in a place that doesn't have words. It's subtle at first. A glance, a conversation, a presence that lingers in ways you can't explain. You think it's ordinary, that it will pass, but it doesn't. You notice yourself thinking differently, imagining moments you haven't lived yet, feeling a pull that surprises you. Your mind begins to reorganize around a possibility you weren't ready for, a depth you didn't expect. And suddenly, ordinary life feels smaller, quieter, almost flat compared to this presence that now occupies your attention. For him, this shift doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with clarity or declarations. It arrives as a quiet tremor in the body, a pause in thought, a hesitation before a word, a subtle tightening in the chest he doesn't know how to place. The intensity of it catches him off guard. He's not sure what it means. Not yet. So he steps back, not out of disinterest, but because the weight of what he's feeling is unfamiliar and almost overwhelming. Is adjusting internally, reorganizing himself to understand the gravity of what's happening, trying to make sense of a connection that has arrived before he was ready to recognize it. And this is the invisible moment, the one no one notices except you, standing in that space between what's seen and what's felt. What looks like hesitation, distance, or indecision is actually the quiet birth of awareness. His beginning to understand that this connection isn't casual. It matters. It touches parts of him he didn't know could be reached. It changes the way he sees the world, the way he imagines a future, the way he feels alive inside moments he never thought could feel like this. This is when the first truth emerges. Some connections aren't recognized by the mind first. They're recognized by the heart, by the soul, by the unconscious. And once that recognition arrives, it doesn't fade. It lets you notice it first in the pauses, in the spaces between words, in the moments that feel just a little heavier than they should. The laughter fades a fraction too early, the conversation trails off, and suddenly the energy between you is different. It's not that he doesn't care. It's not that the connection has weakened. It's that something inside him is moving faster than he knows how to handle. Real feelings don't arrive gently. They land like waves, sudden and overwhelming, and the instinct isn't always to rush forward. Sometimes it's a retreat, to hold back, to create a distance that feels safe while he tries to understand what's happening. This is the silence you feel. This is the stillness that makes your chest tighten and your mind spin with questions. It's not absence, it's processing. It's the invisible gears turning, the internal adjustments that happen when emotions suddenly feel larger than the container is used to. What you perceive as uncertainty, hesitation, or distance is actually him trying to organize himself around something he didn't plan for. His measuring, his questioning, his trying to catch up to a heart that already moved ahead of him. And in those quiet moments, the weight of what he feels is heavy because the intensity is unfamiliar, raw, and real. Have you ever noticed that when someone begins to feel something deeply, their presence changes before their words do? They become quieter. They observe. They weigh every gesture, every glance, every heartbeat, trying to make sense of connection that suddenly matters more than they expected. That pause, that careful silence, is proof, not doubt. It's a signal of a mind grappling with a heart that doesn't want to rush, but can't ignore what it already knows. And this is where you begin to understand. Silence doesn't always mean retreat. It can mean recognition. It can mean fear. It can mean that what you felt has already touched him deeper than he can yet articulate. And that realization, that even in quiet, he's aware, he's moved, he's starting to process something real, is a first step towards seeing that this connection is already alive, even before words ever arrive. Just, it grows, and he has no choice but to reckon with it. That's the power of something deeper, something that quietly shifts everything, long before words, decisions, or actions can ever catch up. You can feel it in the way he hesitates, in the way his eyes linger but his words pull back, in the way his presence shifts between closeness and distance without warning. It's confusing from the outside. One moment is near, warm, attentive, and the next he retreats, careful, measured, as if trying not to break something he doesn't fully understand. What you're witnessing isn't indifference. It's a battle being waged quietly inside him, a tug-of-war between longing and fear, between desire and the instinct to protect himself from the vulnerability he doesn't know how to face. Desire is raw. It's urgent. It wants to close the distance, to say what's in the heart, to surrender to what feels inevitable. But fear is louder than reason. It whispers caution, doubt, hesitation. It points to every risk, every unknown, every possibility of loss or rejection. And for him, the weight of that fear is real. It's primal. It doesn't disappear because he knows he wants you. In fact, it grows stronger the deeper he feels. Every step forward, every pulse of attraction intensifies the tension because the more he realizes what you mean to him, the more he fears what could happen if he lets himself fully open. This is why he seems inconsistent. This is why what you see doesn't always match what you feel. The internal struggle doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with explanations or apologies. It simply manifests in hesitations, in silences, in moments that feel like pushing and pulling. And here's the truth. This conflict is a sign of depth. It's a signal that the connection matters enough to awaken parts of him that aren't always in control. Desire alone is simple. Real connection is messy. It forces him to confront fear, to navigate vulnerability, and to reckon with the stakes of intimacy. And when you begin to understand this, when you see the tension for what it really is, you realize that even in the hesitation, there's recognition. Even in the distance, there's gravity. He may be cautious, he may be afraid, but the part of him that wants you, that part is undeniable, and it's stronger than the fear that tries to hold him back. You notice it in the little things first, the way his attention lingers just a fraction longer than necessary, the way he remembers details you barely mentioned, the way his energy shifts subtly when you enter a room. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with explanations or declarations. And yet, if you pay close attention, it's impossible to miss. Even in silence, emotions leave traces, fingerprints that hint at something deeper, something persistent that words can't capture. You start seeing patterns, the way he checks in, not because he has to, but because he wants to know. The way he notices changes in your mood before you say a word. The small gestures that seem insignificant but carry a weight that words could never convey. These are not accidents. They are signals, quiet proof that beneath the surface, feelings have taken root. He may not always speak, but his presence, his awareness, and his subtle attentiveness are telling a story your mind already suspects. Sometimes it's a smile when you walk by, a memory he brings up about something only the two of you shared, a question that shows he was thinking about you long after the conversation ended. And in those moments, you realize that connection is alive. It's been moving in the background, silently, persistently, patiently. It's there in the details, in the care he doesn't announce, in the energy he can't completely control. Take a moment and think about the signs you've noticed from someone who rarely says what they feel. The small things that made your heart pause, the moments that made you wonder if he feels more than he admits. Those moments aren't coincidences. They are the unconscious revealing itself, showing you that even when words fail, feelings remain. And understanding that quiet presence, that subtle recognition, is powerful. It tells you what's really happening beneath the surface. Even in distance, even in hesitation, the connection is there, alive, quietly insisting that it matters. You feel it first in the quiet moments, in the spaces where his presence used to be. The absence stretches longer than you expected, and suddenly the questions you were asking yourself become sharper, clearer. What felt confusing when you were close, the mixed signals, the pauses, the hesitations, begins to make sense when you step back and watch the space between. Distance doesn't erase connection. It exposes it. It strips away the distractions, the noise, the constant back and forth, and leaves the heart to measure what's really there. When someone matters, even a small separation doesn't weaken the bond. It illuminates it. You start noticing how often he crosses your mind, how easily your presence lingers in memory, how small habits, gestures, and glimpses of attention come to represent something far greater than the moment itself. What seemed like uncertainty becomes a mirror, reflecting how deeply intertwined your lives and hearts already are. And while distance feels like emptiness, it's actually a canvas, waiting for the truth of what matters to reveal itself. This is when clarity begins to form. The mind slows, the heart adjusts, and you begin to see what was hidden beneath the noise of constant interaction. You notice the weight of his absence, the pull of his attention, the little ways your presence persists in thought even when he's not near. Silence and space are not erasure. They are signals. They allow the unconscious to speak. They allow feelings to emerge from hiding, to rise into awareness, unfiltered and undeniable. And here's the shift. Distance becomes a teacher. It shows you what you've been missing in plain sight. It shows him the patterns, the truths, the gravity of the connection that was already present. What once felt uncertain now begins to feel essential. The pull, the recognition, the significance, all of it comes into focus, and you understand that absence isn't separation. It's illumination. It's the heart being forced to see what the mind couldn't admit, and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. You feel it immediately, the subtle shift, the way his presence isn't as steady as it once was. Suddenly, the space between you feels heavier, the silences stretch longer, and your mind begins to spin with questions you can't answer. You replay every interaction, analyze every pause, and feel yourself teetering, wondering if the connection you built is slipping through your fingers. It's exhausting. It feels like your balance, your center, your stability are being pulled away with every unspoken word, every distant glance. But here's the truth. Your emotional ground is yours alone. His processing, his fear, his hesitations, they are not yours to carry. You cannot anchor someone else's growth by sacrificing your own. Real strength isn't bending or shrinking to fill someone else's uncertainty. It isn't chasing reassurance or trying to decode signals that were never meant to be controlled. True power comes from standing firm in your life, your choices, your identity, even when he's navigating emotions he hasn't fully admitted. This is where the internal shift begins. You start to notice how much of your energy has been spent monitoring him, shaping yourself around his pace, softening your edges to make him comfortable. And you realize that in doing so, you've dimmed your own presence. Reclaiming your center isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's a space from which authentic connection can eventually emerge. You continue your routines, your passions, your friendships, and you allow yourself to exist fully, even in the uncertainty. In the quiet confidence of living your life, something changes. You become unmistakably present, not as someone waiting, but as someone whole and uncompromised. And in that grounded space, the truth becomes undeniable. Relationships don't grow when one person abandons themselves. They grow when both people are authentic, unafraid, and unyielding in their integrity. You can watch someone process their feelings, navigate their distance, and still honor yourself completely. That's how you protect your heart, preserve your energy, and demand the respect that was always due. Take a moment and consider this. How have you stayed grounded in moments of uncertainty? What parts of yourself have you refused to give away, even when the others seemed lost? You've felt it. The quiet that lingers longer than you expect, the spaces that feel heavier than they should, the moments when words fail and all that remains is presence. At first, it scares you. You wonder if it means disinterest, rejection, or the fading of something that once seemed alive. You question every gesture, every glance, every hesitation, and you search for explanations that never come. But silence is not always what it seems. It carries its own language, its own weight, and when you learn to read it, it begins to tell a story that word could never capture. Genuine feelings rarely vanish just because they aren't spoken aloud. They evolve quietly, beneath the surface, taking root in ways that are subtle but unshakable. Time and distance allow clarity to emerge, even for what once felt confusing or uncertain. What was messy, what was tense, what seemed fragile, begins to reveal itself in patterns, in consistencies, in small signs that slowly, undeniably point to the truth. The connection you were unsure of starts to gain definition, shape, and depth. This is the moment where perspective shifts. You realize that what you interpreted as absence or hesitation wasn't the absence of feeling. It was the incubation of understanding. The quiet moments, the pauses, the invisible threads that tied you together were all part of a process that had to happen in silence. You begin to see the depth, the persistence, the gravity of what has been building all along. And in that realization, everything changes. The doubt that haunted you loses its power. The confusion softens into understanding. The connection, once hidden beneath hesitation and quiet, now stands fully visible in your heart. And here's the truth that finally hits. Silence does not always mark the end. Sometimes it is a space where clarity grows, where authenticity emerges, where the heart finally catches up to what it already knew. The journey of connection is rarely immediate. It unfolds slowly, often quietly, but with patience and awareness, it reveals what words could never explain. Think about this. Have you ever experienced silence that ultimately revealed what was real? Comment your experience below.